Welcome to my channel, where we discuss everything and all things, politics, economy, and development in Nigeria and around the world. A few weeks after the New York Times published a hard-hitting editorial on Bola Tinubu's administration, which the government was very unhappy with, this time around, a British newspaper, the Financial Times of London, has hit the administration hard, or even harder, in an editorial titled, "Shock Therapy Alone Will Not Cure Nigeria's Economic Ill." Shock therapy alone will not cure Nigeria's economic ills. That editorial by the Financial Times is what we are going to review in this video, so that you know how the West is seeing Bola Tinubu administration's management of the economy. Remember, recently, Alin Dume, the former majority Senate whip, said that when he told President Bola Tinubu's people, the presidency, that Nigerians are angry, he said the response he got was that it was the opposition that are giving that impression that Nigerians are angry and hungry. So we're waiting to see what they will think of this editorial by the Financial Times, whether the Financial Times is among the opposition. So let's go. And before we start, look at what Financial Times said and our own take on it. If you are new to my channel, you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel. Hit the subscription button, hit the notification bell. When you subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell, anytime I have a new video, you'll be among the first to know. God bless you. Now, this is what the Financial Times said. So we're going to look at what they said and then put them in context. Financial Times of London said in their editorial, in the nearly 15 months since Bola Tinubu became president, he has forced his 220 million fellow Nigerians to swallow some bitter medicine. He has removed a generous fuel subsidy, one of the few benefits citizens receive from their inefficient and corrupt state. From their inefficient and corrupt state. That's New York Financial Times. He allowed the country's currency, the naira, to enter free fall, fueling imported inflation and triggering the worst cost of living crisis in a generation. That phrase alone, again, that adjective to describe the state of Nigerian economy, say that putting the economy in a living crisis of a generation. This, if you remember, the New York Times describes the state of Nigerian economy under Bola Tinubu as the worst in a generation. Financial Times is also towing that line. Let's continue to follow them to see what they have to say. The Financial Times wrote, these measures have pushed tens of millions of already impoverished people deeper into misery, but they were necessary to begin correcting the country's long-term economic demise. The fuel subsidy was ruinously expensive, guzzling nearly a third of the federal budget. It was also distortionary, channeling Nigeria's energies into rent sinking, smuggling, and graft. The exchange rate regime, which vastly overvalued the naira, wiped out exports of everything but oil, which was the exchange regime wiped out anything, every export but oil, because only oil you can conveniently export from Nigeria now and make any headway. That's what they are saying, because of the exchange regime that was introduced by Bola Tinubu. He said, while genuine industries were starved of hard currency, cronies accessed cheap dollars to sell on the black market. Nigeria's elite learned a lesson that was toxic to the nation's prospect. Why produce anything when you can make a killing through arbitrage? The Financial Times asks. Moving to more orthodox policy is vital to reset an economy that has not grown for a decade, and one of the most lucrative industries has been kidnapping. It is necessary but insufficient. Tinubunomics is so disjointed it barely existed. That means that he said that Tinubunomics, that's Tinubu's economic strategy, is so disjointed that it is as if it doesn't exist. That's the financial. I'm not the one making up this up. It's the Financial Times of London. Tinubunomics is so disjointed it barely deserved the name. Okay, it's so disjointed it barely deserved the name. Sorry, he said Tinubunomics is so disjointed it barely deserved the name. So you can't talk about anything about Tinubunomics that has an economic strategy, because as far as these people are concerned, the Financial Times, his strategy, economic strategy, is so disjointed that it barely deserved the name. Because when they talk about Tinubunomics, Obamanomics, they are talking about, or you talk about Jonathanomics, you are talking about a military economic blueprint, ideas of the direction somebody is taking his country. Okay? You talk about Reaganomics, when President Reagan was the president of the United States. So he said that Tinubunomics is so disjointed, it barely deserves the name. To me, that's a summary. That summarizes the state of the nation in the eyes of the Financial Times of London. So I have to break down to explain that so that it sinks in. This Financial Times wrote that it is necessary but insufficient. Tinubunomics is so disjointed it barely deserves the name. And went on to say that shock therapy will probably fail if important adjustments are not made. Because remember that Bola Tinubu, in previous statement by the administration, they have said they apply shock therapy to rejig the economy. Financial Times is saying that shock therapy will probably fail if important adjustments are not made. Then Financial Times began to give their solution to the problem. Okay, as all good editorials must provide a solution to the problem identified. Financial Times said, first, the president must chart a course ahead and convince Nigerians that they are in it together. So he said that Tinubu must first of all convince Nigerians. You know, oftentimes you see people talk about let us start that Nigerians should tighten their belt, that things are going to get better. But Financial Times is saying he should be able to convince Nigerians to key into the program. And Financial Times said for that to be remotely credible, the political class must make sacrifices. He said that political class must make sacrifices. Okay? And then he began to give an example of the kind of sacrifices that the political class must make. That the Tinubu administration. He said, out must go lavish pay rises for civil servants and flashy cars, and not to mention jets. Flashy cars and not to mention jets for government officials. Of course, you and I are living witnesses of how they spent 150 million naira to purchase SUVs for lawmakers in National Assembly, and then for those in the presidency. And already it is about 2 weeks now since Sahara reporters alleged that President Bola Tinubu has bought $150 million presidential jet. The federal government has not debunked that story by Sahara reporters. It means that these people will be laughing at us. With the state of the nation that we are in, we are not supposed to be buying presidential jets for our president or any government official. Financial Times of London is telling us, but already it appears we have even bought one. Based on the Sahara reporters' investigative report, which is yet to be debunked. And if government has debunked it, please put the link to the story where the federal government of Nigeria debunked that story by Sahara reporters. Continuing, Sahara reporters the Financial Times went on to say, Tinubu only has to look at Kenya, where violent street demonstrations have forced the government to withdraw tax rises, to see what happens when a sense of injustice festers. Likewise, some savings from fuel subsidy should be redeployed to support the most economically vulnerable as priority. So Financial Times is saying money that was generated from fuel subsidy removal should be used to provide some incentive for the most vulnerable in our society. But one of the things that came out from the interview of former majority whip of National Assembly of the Senate, Alin Dume, was that Alin Dume claimed, and he is yet to be debunked, that he asked the MD of Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Company Limited, why is the money for the generated from the removal of fuel subsidy? Alin Dume allegedly, Alin Dume said that the NNPC DG MD told him that there was no money. That they even borrowed money. That previous subsidies they were paying, they were borrowing money to pay them. You can see. So Financial Times is advising us on something that does not even have no remedy. Financial Times saying money you generate from fuel subsidy, use it to benefit the most vulnerable, the poor in the society. And Alin Dume said when he asked MD of NNPC, that man told him there is no money being generated from the removal of fuel subsidy. Apparently, whatever is generated is used to settle the backlog of loans that was borrowed to pay past subsidies, allegedly. And don't forget that the New York Times, in their own analysis of state of economy in Nigeria, said that Nigeria has not totally removed fuel subsidy, that Nigeria is still paying fuel subsidy. That what we did was a partial subsidy, partial subsidy removal. IMF and World Bank has also corroborated that. A senior member of the APC, former governor of Kaduna State, has also said that Tinubu is paying subsidy, even higher than what he met on the ground. We may never know the truth. But the Financial Times is saying, if you have the excess money that was generated through fuel subsidy removal, they should use it for the benefit of the people by taking care of the most vulnerable. Perhaps what they did the other day by saying that they are supplied 20 trucks of rice, 50 kg rice to all the states across Nigeria, 20 trucks in a country of 220 million people, 20 trucks. I don't know how many people will get up to a cup of rice from that. But that's by the way. So the Financial Times say, okay, take care of the people who are the most vulnerable and ensure that you address the issue of hunger, because Financial Times also said that hunger levels are soaring and millions of children are forgoing meals and school. Financial Times continue. He said, Nigerian politicians have to be seen. Okay, sorry. So he said, Nigerian politicians love to be seen handing out bags of rice. Nigerian politicians love to be seen handing out bags of rice. But what is needed is a direct cash payment to people's phones, the technology for which exists, and in the long term, proper safety net. Financial Times is advising Tinubu that Nigerian politicians love to give out rice, just like he is giving out rice, 20 trailer load of rice to different states. That's not the solution. That the solution is putting the money in the pocket of the poor directly until such a time that Nigeria will be able to provide safety net like happens in other parts of the world. Continuing, the Financial Times wrote, he said, as things stand, the state lacks either the capacity or the probity to administer such a scheme. Tinubu needs to fix that urgently, with a few exemptions. His cabinet is full of lightweights who owe their jobs to political patronage, not to expertise. Technocratic talents exist in abundance. It must be marshaled. Here, the Financial Times took a jab on the cabinet of Bola and said, with a few exemptions, these are just a bunch of lightweights that have nothing to serious to contribute to the state of the Nigerian, to reviving the economy of Nigeria. But he also said that Nigeria has a lot of talents, technocrats that can do the job. He should marshal them instead of those he appointed based on political patronage. Then Financial Times moved into corruption, which it identifies as part of the problem of Nigeria. He said corruption needs to be tackled. It does not help that Tinubu's own wealth is not easy to decipher, nor that his poverty minister was suspended for alleged diversion of funds, something she denies. Now, the Financial Times is saying that one of the things that Tinubu must tackle is corruption. But he said, how can Tinubu tackle corruption when even his own wealth, his vast wealth, nobody can explain how he ended? He said, Tinubu's own vast wealth is not easy to decipher. You can't explain the source of it. So how does he fight corruption? Which is a necessary thing to be fought, according to the Financial Times. And then he makes reference to the suspended poverty minister, that he was suspended for alleged diversion of funds. Financial Times also move on to say that it does not help that the state is implicated in wholesale theft of oil, depriving the nation's coffers of billions of dollars. Of course, the Financial Times went on to talk about the fact that government officials are involved in theft, oil theft, stealing billions of dollars worth of oil that's supposed to enter into the coffers of the federal government. He said that Tinubu should use all his political gale to staunch the flow. Continuing, the Financial Times said, some will argue that Nigeria's state is so weak, all Tinubu can do is remove his influence and retreat. Nigeria collects tax worth about 10% of gross domestic product, one of the lowest in the world. That is a sure sign of how little trust exists between the government and the governed. But if the economy is to be revived, the state needs to be an enabler. The state needs to be an enabler. It means that if the economy is to be revived, the state needs to be an enabler. It must provide power, roads, security, and justice, not to mention schools, hospitals, and support for the poorest in the society. Without a joined up and articulated plan, Tinubu's bitter medicine will not cure Nigeria's ail. It will just leave a bad taste. It will just leave a bad taste. And the Financial Times, in summary, has just shown the state of the Nigerian economy under Bola Tinubu. Because when they tell you that Tinubunomics is disjointed, that's a summary of the state of the Nigerian economy. And I don't need to add anything anymore in my own reaction to this hard-hitting editorial by the Financial Times of London, which is coming shortly after that of the New York Times of the United States. It is important that we review all these things because it gives us an indication how the people from outside looking in are seeing us instead of how we are seeing ourselves. Because sometimes we see ourselves thinking that we are doing better. It is those on the outside that see far better of our state. And what they have said is in line with the state of the nation. It is in line with what Ali Dume, the former Senate Whip, have seen about the state of the economy and the state of Nigeria under President Bola Tinubu. Thank you for watching this video, and if you are new to my channel, you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel, hit the subscription button, hit the notification bell. When you subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell, anytime I have a new video, you'll be among the first to know. God bless you. And please don't forget to like this video, because when you like it, Google will rank it high and recommend it for more people. Thank you, and God bless you and yours.